G'day Internet, welcome to Stick Ninjas, DevLog episode 25. My name is Andrew Russell and I've been gone for quite some time. When we left off, I was working on the GUI code. I was working on a little timeline thing, and very predictably I got bogged down with that, being GUI code. So this is as far as I got when I gave up on this, which is considerably further than last time I was working on this same thing and gave up on it. But it's still nowhere near finished, so, you know, GUI code, what can you do? So after that, I was a little bit bleh on Stick Ninjas for a while, which wasn't all bad because while I was sort of going bleh, I had an epiphany about what Stick Ninjas is about, what the core of Stick Ninjas is going to be. And I think this happens to a lot of indie developers, and possibly a lot of just developers in general. Just to give you a couple of examples, I know that Introversion, they were working on Subversion for about 6 years before they figured out what they really should be building was Prison Architect. Another game that I played recently is Gunpoint, and I know that Tom Francis was working on that for a year before he actually came up with the cross-link mechanic, which is sort of Gunpoint's defining feature. So I've been working on Stick Ninjas for a year now, and I finally figured out what it's about, what the sort of core mechanic's going to be. And it's really very simple. Stick Ninjas is a game about drawing. It's about drawing in the same way, you know, in school you would draw stick figure battles in your textbook and you'd draw complex landscapes and, you know, you'd have them do all sorts of fighting and so on. And that's what Stick Ninjas is going to capture, I think, with its mechanic. And it'll be multiplayer and online, and you know, basically you're battling on the landscape as you're drawing it, and you'll be able to share that with other players and so on. So the epiphany that I had wasn't so much that it should be about drawing, because that's an idea that I'd come up with previously and had to reject because I didn't really have a good way to implement it. Up until now, here's the physics test for Stick Ninjas, and I've got this polygon creation tool that's basically pulled straight out of the level editor for Dark, and this is fine for level editing. And I pondered exposing this in the gameplay of Stick Ninjas and making it so you could, you know, plot out little polygons and have them sent over the network and all that. But this is really way too fiddly and unresponsive. For example, if you try and make a bad polygon like this, it'll ignore you. And, you know, from a user gameplay interface perspective, being ignored by the game is really frustrating. So the first idea, this first sort of epiphany that I had was, and it seems blindingly obvious in hindsight, but why not just let the player just draw shapes freehand directly and leave it up to the computer to figure out, you know, what to do with those shapes. So for the past month or so, I've been working on this prototype shape recognizer thing. It basically takes this line that you draw in and it runs it through a series of processing steps and then spits out a physics-ready polygon at the end. So you can build sections onto this polygon and you can carve out sections into this polygon. The second part of this epiphany was like, how do I balance this drawing mechanic? Because obviously if I let the player just draw all over the map, that's probably very quickly going to become overpowered. So what I've invented here is the draw key. So you're running along as your player and you press this button, your character stops running along, stops moving, and this draw radius starts to appear around him, and you're able to draw within this draw radius. But while you're drawing, you're vulnerable to enemy fire because you can't dodge because you're standing still, obviously. And what I'm hoping is that this leads to some interesting decisions for the players. You know, do I risk standing here for a while, letting my draw radius expand while I work on some big drawing, or do I quickly slam down a shape and run off? Anyway, so that's where I'm going with Stick Ninjas. So it's a game about drawing collaboratively and competitively, you know, with your friends online. And I think it's going to be huge fun. So, yeah. I'm excited about it. So now that I'm back to doing the devlog videos, I'm going to change to a fortnightly schedule. Previously I was doing it one a week, and I'm hoping that a fortnightly schedule will be more sustainable. So in the past, if I wasn't able to get a devlog out one week for whatever reason, like I might not have got much done, or the work that I did get done was not sort of visually interesting, or I'd just been polishing a tiny little section. I didn't really have much to talk about. Then I'd get stressed out that I wasn't doing a devlog, and then I'd skip it, and then I'd get stressed out that I need to do an even bigger devlog to make up for it the next week. And so rather than stressing myself out about doing it weekly, I'm going to try fortnightly and see how that goes. So having said all that, next devlog, which will be in a fortnight, I have something special planned, which I'll hopefully tell you about then. So yeah, as usual, you can follow me on my blog at andrewrussell.net, or follow me on Twitter at _AndrewRussell. And you can go to stickninjas.com to sign up to get a notification when Stick Ninjas is available for playable pre-order. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in a fortnight.